In this video, I'm sharing 5 rules that I follow to maintain muscle mass while losing body fat. And that's what we all want, right? We want a good amount of muscle mass and lower amounts of body fat. And that really is one of the major keys of building a next level physique, isn't it? It's, can you lose body fat predictably? Can you get to a lower body fat percentage while maintaining the muscle mass that you currently have? And that's exactly what I'm doing right now in my current fat loss phase. So let's get into the 5 rules that I really prioritize to make sure that I can do this successfully. And by the way, if you're new here, my name is Jesse. I'm a personal trainer and online fitness coach. I've been in the industry working with men, coaching them for over a decade now. And if you're looking to build a next level physique as well, consider subscribing to my channel because I try to make helpful and valuable videos just like this every single week. The first rule is training with progressive overload. Basically what this means, if you're not familiar with it, is trying to make progress on your workout program by either increasing some of the weights you're using over time or increasing the amount of reps you're able to get with that same weight. It could even be something as simple as adding an extra set, doing 4 sets of a particular exercise this week for the same amount of weight and reps compared to last week, maybe you did 3 sets. And really what I'm trying to focus on in my training here is trying to match my strength from previous weeks or get stronger if possible. And I do this by logging my workouts, keeping track of how much weight I'm using for each exercise and each set that I'm doing, and then how many reps I was able to get. So that way I can look back at last week and see what I did and at least try to match that. This is also exactly what I do with my own clients in our training app, where they log their workouts and the app keeps track of all their data so they can easily see what their PRs are. This is so important because getting stronger, or at least not getting weaker, is a good recipe for maintaining your muscle or building a little bit of muscle as well. If you're getting weaker, you're almost certainly not building any muscle. So I train as hard as I can, maybe not until absolute failure in every set, but I'm trying to come relatively close to that, maybe between 1 and 3 reps away from absolute failure. Rule number 2 is I'm generally eating a higher protein diet. A lot of people know that protein is good for building muscle or maintaining muscle, but they don't really have a calculated strategy in how to actually do that. They just know that chicken has protein, so they eat some more chicken, or that maybe eggs have some protein, so they eat some more eggs. But what I'm talking about is a much more strategic and calculated way of eating. By tracking my macros and making sure that I'm eating in an appropriate range of protein daily to help me at least give the best possible chance at building or maintaining muscle. So for me, generally what that is anywhere between 1.2 up to 1.5 times my lean body mass. That's usually the recipe I use, or the formula I use, for determining how much protein I'm going to be eating. And also for many of my clients as well, many of them fall into that formula as well. Now, if you do 1.5 times your lean body mass, you may get a very, very high number that seems like a little bit too much or like a lot too much. That's why the range of 1.2 to 1.5 is a good place to be. Sometimes I do 1.2 times my lean body mass or 1.3 times my lean body mass, but it really depends on the individual, their current fitness level, how lean they are versus how overweight they are, how much experience they have with strength training. But generally speaking, the leaner somebody is, the higher towards 1.5 you go. And the more overweight someone is, generally you're gonna go more towards 1.2 or 1.3 times their lean body mass. So as you can see, this can be a much more personalized, much more advanced formula for determining how much protein someone should be eating compared to what like a lot of people see on the internet, which is just eat 1 gram of protein per pound that you weigh. The truth is, that's just not appropriate in any way for a lot of people. Someone who's 300 pounds, there's no way they should be eating 300 grams of protein per day. Or someone like myself, I weigh about 155 pounds. I'm eating way more protein than that. I'm eating closer to 210 grams of protein to help maintain muscle and build muscle while I'm in a fat loss phase. So a lot of how much protein you should be eating is determined by your current fitness level, your experience, the body composition you're in right now, how much you're training, and of course what your goals are. Rule number 3 is to eat in more of a moderate calorie deficit rather than an extreme calorie deficit. I'm shocked by how many people, especially how many men out there, are trying to eat as little food as possible to lose weight. There's seriously adult men out there right now, you might be watching this, who are trying to eat 1,100 calories a day, 1,200, 1,300 calories a day. If you're trying to lose muscle, do that. The more restrictively you eat, the less resources your body has to fuel your muscles and to fuel your body for your workouts. So you're gonna be at a higher likelihood of losing some muscle mass while you're in a fat loss phase if you're eating these extremely low calorie diets. So in my case, instead of eating 1,500 or 1,600 or 1,700 calories to try to lose weight, I'm eating more around 2,300 or 2,400 calories. That's still a deficit for me. And it gives my body more fuel for my workouts to remain strong, to be able to progressively overload. It helps the training aspect of my fitness. So not only does my body have more fuel and resources to help maintain muscle while still being in a deficit and losing weight, but I have better quality workouts because I'm eating in a more moderate deficit instead of an extremely low calorie diet like a lot of you silly men out there are doing. Rule number 4 to maintain muscle while losing fat is not to eliminate carbs. There's so many other silly men out there trying to eat no carbs in their life, not because they dislike carbs, but because they think they need to stop eating carbs altogether if they want to lose weight. Not only do you not need to eliminate carbs, in my opinion, you shouldn't. There's been numerous studies now that show that those who take extreme elimination diets like eliminating carbs are way more likely to rebound and gain whatever weight back that they lost. And that's because it's not a sustainable way to live. We're talking about not eating fruit. We're talking about not eating vegetables. Vegetables are carb sources. We're talking about not eating rice. We're talking about not eating grains like oatmeal. So that's obviously a factor in me not eliminating carbs when I'm in a fat loss phase. But the main reason is because of the benefit it has on your workouts. If you have at least some carbs in your diet, generally you're going to have way better quality workouts. You're gonna have a better chance at maintaining your strength and because of that, maintaining your muscle while you are losing weight in a fat loss phase. Carbs are the preferred fuel source for your body when exercising. So again, if you're trying to lose muscle, go ahead and eliminate carbs. But obviously you're here because you're trying to maintain the muscle mass you do have while getting leaner. So that's why rule number 4 is not to eliminate carbs altogether. I'm not saying you have to eat a high carb or all carb diet. I'm just saying not to eat 0 carbs per day. You can still eat fewer carbs than you would in like a bulking phase. In a bulking phase, I was eating 300 to 400 grams of carbs a day. In my fat loss phase now, I'm eating more in the 200 to 250 carb range per day, which is, lower, but it's still a fair, moderate amount of carbs. But I work out 5 times a week. I get 10,000 steps a day. I've been running a mile after each of my workouts, so I'm a relatively active person, and those carbs are being used by my body for training. And what I try to do, if you really want to use your carbs as optimally as possible, is use a good chunk of your carbs in your pre and post-workout nutrition. Rule number 5, and the most overlooked rule to maintain muscle, is getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Now, I fully acknowledge that everyone needs a different amount of sleep to function optimally and be productive and have mental clarity and focus. So there may be some of you out there who can function at a high level and have an amazing day getting 5 or 6 hours of sleep. That's not me. Generally speaking, I need between 7 and 9 hours of sleep most nights. And even though it's debatable how much sleep exactly you need as an individual, what's not debatable is that getting more sleep is beneficial for maintaining muscle, because that's when our body is recovering and rejuvenating itself. And if you're running on 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep consistently, even if you can function fine, there's some level of a greater risk of losing some muscle mass if you're eating in a deficit and you're in a fat loss phase getting leaner, compared to if you were getting in 7 or 8 or 9 hours of sleep. quality of sleep matters as well, not just the amount, but are you getting actually good sleep or is it shit sleep? Now, I've done a ton of fat loss phases over the last decade. In some of them, I've lost muscle mass, and in more recent years, I've really dialed in these 5 rules and I've done a better job at maintaining the muscle I have while lowering my body fat percentage. And I've been able to do this successfully with dozens and dozens of clients of mine of all ages, guys in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s. So this stuff works incredibly well. And to recap, the 5 rules are training in a progressive overload style, really trying to maintain your current strength or get stronger. Number 2 is eating a higher protein diet. Generally, what that's gonna look like is multiplying your lean body mass times 1.2, anywhere up to 1.5. Rule number 3 is eating in a more moderate calorie deficit rather than a really extreme low amount of calories. Rule number 4 is not to eliminate carbs, but to include some appropriate level of carbs in your diet to help with performance in the gym. And rule number 5 is to get a reasonable amount of sleep that's good quality sleep. Generally, that's gonna be in the 7 to 9 hours per night range. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you want some resources that might be able to help you out on your journey to build a next level physique and get in the best shape you're capable of, check out the resources I have down below. I've got a lean muscle cookbook, which will help with your macros, help with your nutrition, making meals that taste really good, that are really easy to make, that have high protein and low calorie meals. That's a totally free recipe book. I have a couple of links to resources I use, like the protein powder I use, the meal prep service I use to make meal prep super easy and quick. And I also have a link to check out my Modern Man coaching program, which is where I coach guys from all over the world to do this stuff and to do it successfully and without any guesswork. So check that out if you'd like to. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.